Have said at the beginning of the show that today we are going to talk about the recent developments on the ground concerning the Gaza war and the efforts exerted in order to try to find a truce or a ceasefire agreement between the two sides. To shed more light on the issue, we are very much delighted to be joined over the phone by Dr. Hassan Wageeh, Professor of International Relations. Good morning, Dr. Wageeh.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
I'm just fine, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Dr. Wageeh, to start with, we have witnessed a visit by the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to the U.S. Last Monday, which was the third since Mr. Trump assumed office. How do you see the outcome of this rather informal meeting between the Israeli Prime Minister and the U.S. President, and why it was away from the eyes of the media?
Actually, it was several meetings, successive meetings, and also it shows that despite the fact that there is a foundational ground between the U.S. and Israel when it comes to the entire conflict, but there are also discrepancies and there are also differences in opinion. So they wanted to reconcile these differences. So actually, when it comes to President Trump, he wants to achieve peace for economic purposes for these projects. And but Netanyahu is working on the other direction. So there is give and take between them, of course.
Doctor, we have been witnessing during the past week the Palestinian resistance targeting many Israeli occupation soldiers in many ambushes. How do you see the outcome of such ambushes and such attacks by the resistance on the mediation talks and the ceasefire agreement between the two sides?
Actually, yes, it is a very complicated situation in Palestine. Of course, if you can see that the timing is okay or timing is not okay, but there is a fact of life. The Israeli must understand that whenever there is occupation, there could be resistance, of course. So resistance could be conducted by whoever name. You know, when you are living under brutal occupation, when you have all these atrocities, I think that this generates violence, and violence brings violence. Power brings resistance. So I hope that this mentality of zero-sum mentality by the Israelis, to understand that you will never be able to erase every power against you, but you can negotiate positively, despite the fact that it is difficult. Yes, but it is possible, and they should come to terms, to solve, to ceasefire, and to get into the direction of peace.
Yeah. Sir, we have been hearing from Mr. Trump that an agreement would be, ceasefire agreement would be reached soon, and yet nothing on the ground. How do you see the proposals here from the U.S. regarding finding middle ground here between the two sides, and the efforts exerted by Egypt as a mediator and Qatar in order to reach the ceasefire agreement as soon as possible?
Actually, there were many obstacles and barriers, but the mediators, Egypt and Qatar, yes, worked very hard, and they were able to be a success. But there are still hanging two important issues. One of them is withdrawal of the Israelis from Gaza, and the Israelis are still having this kind of mentality of staying there, imposing everything under the name of security, but security needs another mentality so as you can overcome all these obstacles for everyone.
Yes. So, what more conditions are set by the two sides in order to try to bridge the gaps here and the efforts exerted by the mediators in order to bridge the gap between Hamas and the Israelis here on the ground? And what is different here in this proposal than the ones before?
Yes, if you can see the humanitarian situation, it is very catastrophic and very criminal, actually. So I think that when you are moving the Palestinians into this narrow strip of land, all of them with a very, very unbelievable humanitarian crisis, and you are occupying 70% of Gaza, I think this is one of the most important things, is that you have to release the situation rather than keeping it as it is, because it makes it very explosive for everyone. So, and very inhuman mainly. So I think that it is very important, and this is the point that Israeli withdrawal should be there. The Palestinians should be allowed to get back to their places.
Yes, Dr. Wageeh, of course, since the start of the war about 21 months ago, we have been witnessing ultimate support from the United States to Israel, and about 58 vetoes in the UN Security Council. How do you see the American stance from Israel at this very moment?
Yes, you know, the general attitude, of course, it is America is yielding to the pressure and to the arguments raised by Netanyahu, and Netanyahu was able to get his argument across and convince them, persuade them all the time. But of course, there are a difference. There are some good differences between the two. But when it comes to the blind support for Israel, for everything, it is there in the policy.
Dr. Wageeh, we have to mention here that Egypt has always been a key player in trying to support the Palestinian cause. How do you see the role here played by Egypt in order to support the Palestinians and find a way out for the crisis on the ground in the Gaza Strip at the moment?
Yes, Egypt's history is very well known for backing the Palestinian cause, the Palestinian rights, and also Egypt's steps when it comes to establishing peace based on justice, based on win-win, is very historic and very telling to the entire world. Egypt proved that, but Egypt also needs, with a effort, we need American stance like the one practiced by President Carter, who was doing it on a win-win situation, who was doing it in a very fair-mindedness, and I think the United States role should be there.
Yeah.
And I think that Carter himself, when he visited Egypt 2008, a long time ago, mentioned that the American administration should continue his path and his way of doing correct mediation, not biased mediation.
Yes. Dr. Wageeh, do you believe that a truce would be implemented on the ground between Hamas and the Israelis? And if so, would you expect here the violence or the genocide war from the Israeli side to erupt again? And what could be the solution here?
Unfortunately, so far, it is also wishful thinking. We all wish, we all hope that everything will be settled. But unfortunately, there are a big discrepancy between the two sides, and also the what I call the agenda of Netanyahu is absolutist. It is one-way ticket, it is in a direction that is really unfavorable to establishing real authentic peace in the area. So the truth is, yes, I hope that the American mediator would intervene to try to put the correct pressure, correct path. So I think there will be this discrepancy make us sometimes near to truth, but in many situations when you come back to the real statement, especially by Netanyahu, you can see that we are away from it. Hopefully there are breakthroughs to happen.
Yes. Dr. Wageeh, finally, do you believe that a political solution for the crisis could be implemented with the establishment of a Palestinian state with the Al-Quds as its capital?
Yes, of course, all the international legislation, resolutions, UN resolutions, the attitude of many European countries, even previous administration in the United States. I think that this is a fact that everybody is asserting. But how this fact could be implemented is still, this is a long and winding road. And I think that the incompatibility of views make it till now very difficult. But this does not mean that we can give up that important objective, that important agenda, because this is the only way to radically solve these problems for good.
Yeah. Indeed, Dr. Hassan Wageeh, Professor of International Relations, thank you so much, sir, for your precious input and for being our guest. Our dear viewers, we'll go to a short break, and after that we'll be back to resume our segments in the breakfast show. So stay tuned.